How's it going, everybody? This is MrNoobTubeGamer back with another video, and this is going to be another Nintendo video. I haven't really been making Nintendo videos lately. I've been focusing on the whole PC gaming thing. I did make a video about the Nintendo Switch, but compared to previous years, like 2013, 2014, my main focus on the channel was exposing Nintendo fanboys and talking about how much of a failure that the Wii U is. And, you know, I think when the Switch comes out, I think I'm gonna get back into that. Except for, you know, instead of talking about how much the Wii U is a failure, I'm going to talk about how much the Nintendo Switch is a failure, because after that press conference, man, I think it's pretty much confirmed, and all the other details that came out after that press conference, I think it's pretty much confirmed that the Nintendo Switch is going to be a complete bust, complete failure. It has pretty much the same issues that plagued the Wii U. The reasons why the Wii U was a failure are going to be the exact same reasons why the Nintendo Switch will be a failure. So let's get on. I can think of three things right now that the Nintendo Switch share in common with the Wii U. One, so we got the JoyCons, horrible idea, and I thought the whole hybrid between handheld and home console was kind of cool, until it was revealed that the battery life was like 2.5 to 6.5 hours. Like, what? That's actually pretty bad. And I was also thinking that, you know, you're going to get a lot of stories of people getting their Nintendo Switch, like, stolen from them and get their shit. Because it's not like back in the day with the 3DS and the other, like, the real handhelds. Because the Nintendo Switch is going to be an actual console that can be used on the go. At least I think that's how they're marketing it. So, you know that shit gets stolen a lot. It's like if there was a portable PS4, people would steal that shit if that shit came out. So I think there's going to be a lot of robbery cases of people stealing Nintendo Switches. And I think you're better off if you plan on getting a Nintendo Switch to never take that shit outside, because your shit's probably going to get stolen. For sure, especially if you have a lot of digital games on there. Because back in the day, you just had physical games, really. I know they had the eShop, but I'm talking about back in the Game Boy Advance days, Nintendo DS days, you didn't really have that shit. So it's much different to today, where you have all these games installed. It gives people more of incentives to steal your shit. So I think people are going to get their shit out if they ever take their shit outside. And I don't think they should take their Switch outside because, first of all, you know, you put the Switch on a stand while you're outside, and you're using the Joy-Cons acting like an idiot, and then someone could go like, swoop, and run away with the fucking Switch. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I don't think the whole the whole hybrid between handheld and console is a great idea. I never thought it was an amazing idea when I first heard the rumors that that's what it was going to be. But I was a bit more open to it when the Switch was first revealed back in October. And now I'm just like, I don't know. I really don't know. I don't think it's going to be a huge success. At least when it comes to the whole gimmick thing. And I won't say that the Joy-Con is as bad as the Wii U gamepad. Because the Wii U gamepad was probably one of the worst gimmicks in gaming history. Besides, obviously, the Virtual Boy and all these other, you know, failed gimmick consoles. But I still think it's going to be a failure because the gimmick is not really that impressive. The Joy-Con literally looks like a Chinese knockoff of the Wiimote back in, you know, 2006, when you always had, like, knockoff Wii consoles. You know what I'm talking about? That's what the Joy-Con kind of reminds me of, honestly. It even sounds like a Chinese knockoff product, JoyCon. You know what I mean? I don't know, but that's the way I see it. I don't know if you guys see it that way too, but at least that's the way I see it. But so that's one thing. I think the Switch and the Wii U will both have one thing in common, being they have failed. Second thing is going to be third-party support. No third-party support on the Wii U whatsoever. The Wii U had absolutely no third-party support at all. You had what was it, Arkham City, whatever the hell, whichever Arkham game came out back in 2012, it was ported over to the Wii U, and that version, like people were talking about, like those fanboys were talking about how it's going to be the definitive version of Batman Arkham City or whatever the fuck it was. I might be wrong about that, but I think it was Arkham City. Because it was Arkham Asylum, then it was Arkham City, then it was Arkham Knight, right? So I think it was Arkham City. So they were saying that it was going to be the definitive version. The Wii U will be the definitive version of that game. And it wound up being the worst version of the game. Horrible frame rate, horrible version of the game. And I think that's going to be a bad thing. This is going to also carry over to the Switch, because the multi-platform games that we will get on the Switch, FIFA, Skyrim, and that's it. That's pretty much it. I think that's all I heard about. I don't understand what Nintendo's thinking by only having like 2 or 3 third-party games being released on the Wii U, or being released on the Switch. I keep saying Wii U because they're pretty much the same fucking I'm sorry, but Skyrim, you know, is going to be inferior on the Switch. It will probably have no mods. It will probably be like more closely related to the PS3 360 version than the Xbox One PS4 version. That's what I think. I think that's what's probably going to happen with Skyrim. I even saw the trailer on the Switch, and it kind of looked more like the PS3 version than the new version. And it didn't even say Skyrim Special Edition is coming to the Switch, which is even more suspicious. Why didn't they say Skyrim Special Edition is coming to the Switch? Why did they say just Skyrim? Very interesting. Very interesting indeed. And, okay, there's no Battlefield coming to the Switch, no Call of Duty, and, you know, Nintendo fanboys will be like, well, that's not a big deal. We don't need those games. Okay, well, except if you're talking about the mainstream consumer, okay, the general consumer that has an option between getting a PS4, an Xbox One, a Switch, or even building a PC. You have 4 options, right? And if they haven't had any of these systems yet, they're getting into gaming right now, let's say hypothetically. Why would they get a Nintendo, if they had to choose one console, why would they choose the Nintendo Switch if there are more games on the PS4, Xbox One, if there's more third-party support, if there's, hell, more first-party support, which I'm going to get into later? Why the hell would someone get a Switch if they don't even have the third-party support to hold themselves together? That's what made the NES great. That's what made the Super Nintendo great. That's what made them successful. Yes, the first-party games made the Nintendo consoles successful, but third-party support was also very important. If all these third-party games did not come to the NES or Super Nintendo, then Nintendo wouldn't be successful. Nintendo would have never been successful, ever, if they never had third-party support. So, I don't know what the hell Nintendo's thinking. Literally, you have FIFA and Skyrim. I don't know what else is coming. What else is coming? There's no Battlefield. There's none of these other games. And FIFA should be a given. Skyrim should be a given. Why is Nintendo hyping up that FIFA and Skyrim are coming to the Switch? That should be a given. I just don't understand it. So I already listed 2 reasons why, the 2 things that the Wii U and the Switch have in common. And the third one is no first-party support. How many first-party games were released on the Wii U? I can think of a few off the top of my head. Let's see. Mario Kart 8, which is getting re-released on the Switch. I won't really count that as first-party support. They're just re-releasing the same game. Splatoon. They're making Splatoon 2, which I guess you can count towards the Switch. Woohoo. Zelda Breath of the Wild, which is coming on the Wii U. It's going to be the last Wii U game, according to Nintendo. Which is funny, because Nintendo always talks about, we're not going to abandon our console. That's what they said about the GameCube. We're not going to abandon the GameCube. And then when the Wii U came out, after a month or 2, they discontinued the GameCube. Or, we're not going to discontinue, we're not going to abandon the Wii. As soon as the Wii U came out, they abandoned the Wii, even though, which is kind of funny because the Wii U had no install, like, the install base on the Wii U was like peanuts compared to the Wii. Kind of curious that they decided to abandon the Wii so quickly when the Wii U was released. And, they said, we're not going to abandon the Wii U when the Switch comes out. And it seems like they're already abandoning the Wii U. The Wii U is probably going to get discontinued, officially discontinued this year, for sure. I mean, I know last year it was, revealed that, manufacturers aren't really producing the Wii U that much anymore. But I think officially the Wii U is going to get discontinued this year. So we have 3 issues right now. No first-party support. Because how many first-party games were on the Wii U? Not that many. Over a 5-year period. Because the Wii U, yes, is already 5 years old. Doesn't seem that way, but it is. And the Switch only has Breath of the Wild. Okay, I'll give you guys that one. Super Mario Odyssey, which isn't even a launch title. All these other games which aren't even launch titles and don't even have official release dates. I don't understand what the hell Nintendo's thinking. You need to have... The only reason people buy your consoles is because of your strong first-party support that you don't even have anymore. You used to have it back in the Wii days, back in the GameCube days. You used to have a shit ton of first-party support. Now you don't. So people... The argument that, well, third-party support doesn't matter because of Nintendo's amazing first-party games. Well, that doesn't matter because Nintendo doesn't even release first-party games either. The Wii U literally had no games. The Switch is also going to have no games. Unless you want to count 1-2 Switch and ARMS as exclusives and as first-party games. But anyone who's willing to make an argument stupid enough like that is not willing having... It's not... I'm not willing to have a debate about that. Because if you're even willing to debate about that, then it just shows how out of touch you are with the gaming industry. But that's 3 already. That's 3 already. And I'm not even talking about the paid online, which is ridiculous. Not just because of the fact that, okay, Sony and Microsoft charge for online, and having free online service would kind of distinguish yourselves from from your competitors. The fact that, I don't necessarily think the paid online is a bad thing. I think having paid online while having to use your phone to use the online features is pathetic. It's downright pathetic. So with all these reasons and more, I think the Wii U was... I think the Wii U was kind of the writing on the wall that Nintendo is not doing great and they're in deep trouble. And I think the Switch will probably be the nail in the coffin for Nintendo, at least with the home console market. I think after the Switch, they might just throw in the towel. They might go third party like Sega, because let's talk about Sega. Sega is kind of they suffer the same fate in the 90s that Nintendo is starting to suffer now. Let's see, the Genesis was a huge success. And that's kind of where the downfall of Nintendo started to begin, because Nintendo was the most successful when they monopolized the industry, and after there was actual competition, they went on a downward spiral, starting with the Super Nintendo. The Super Nintendo did good, but not as good as the NES. So there's the Super Nintendo, and then the N64, which got outsold by the PS1. Then you had the GameCube, which sold like 21 million units. And then you had the Wii, which sold a shit units, but it was mainly shovelware. And as soon as people bought Wiis, it just collected dust. No one really played it. I think it was a study that most of the people that had a Wii, that bought a Wii, within the first year, people stopped playing it. No one played it anymore. So, yes, they made a shit ton of money, and the fact that they made a shit ton of money made them think that we can do no wrong, and then came the Wii U, 13 million units sold. And then Nintendo Switch, which might do slightly better than the Wii U, but not that much, I don't think. I can't see the Nintendo Switch being a huge success and getting Nintendo off the shit that they're in right now. I can't see it. I can't see it happening. And this is coming from someone that made a video talking about why I think the Nintendo Switch will be a huge success as soon as it was revealed. I'm like, you know what? This looks like it could be successful. But I don't think, now that I'm learning more details about it, I don't think so. Especially since all this different hardware is sold separately. You know, the hardware people actually care about, like the Pro Controller and all these other things, they're being sold separately. So, you know, the argument that the $300 is an affordable price tag is bullshit. Because most people that are going to buy it are going to have to spend more. Especially 32 gigabytes of memory. What the fuck are you thinking, Nintendo? I'm sorry. But as soon as I heard about that, I was like, nope, not buying, not buying. I'm like, what the hell are you thinking? Objectively speaking, the PS4 and Xbox One are a much greater value than the Switch. And it's $300, and I think $250 now. Huh. Why would anyone buy a Switch? Oh, to play Zelda. Oh, okay. To play Zelda. Fine. So you're going to buy a $300 console, and you'd have to buy more memory because the Zelda takes up half the memory of the entire Switch's memory capacity. And I just don't... What the hell is Nintendo thinking? Nintendo has the greatest library of games out of all the companies. Whether we're talking about Valve, whether we're talking about Sony or Microsoft or any of these other companies, Nintendo has the greatest library of games. They could have really made a great console if it wasn't underpowered like it is. And that's another problem that the Switch shares in common with the Wii U. Underpowered. I think it's less powerful than the PS4. The PC fanboys argue about how underpowered the PS4 is. They're gonna have a thing with the Switch. God damn. Less powerful than the PS4. What the hell are they thinking? What the hell are they thinking? Having an underpowered console. A 2017 console that's 720p, 30 frames per second. You heard it right. I heard Zelda's gonna run at like 720p, 30 frames per second on the Switch. And I think that's probably the real reason why the Switch has no third-party support. I'm sure Nintendo was lobbying for these third-party companies to go on board, but underpowered hardware, you know, less powerful than PS4, 2017 new console that can't even run Zelda at 60 frames per second. That's pathetic. That's downright pathetic. I don't know what the hell Nintendo's thinking by doing this. They're going down the same road Sega went down. The Genesis was a success, going back to the point I made before. The Genesis was a huge success, but then downward spiral, just like how I talked about with Nintendo. Downward spiral, Genesis. Okay, we'll start off Master System. Didn't do that great, but it created competition between the Master System and the NES. It created competition between Nintendo and Sega. Competition is good. So, start off with the Master System, then Genesis, Sega Saturn. Dreamcast did slightly better, but wasn't enough to hold Nintendo together. Just like how the Switch will do slightly better than the Wii U. Remember what I said before about how the Switch might do a little bit better than the Wii U? Well, yeah. Reminds me of Sega, doesn't it? Very, very, very much in line of Sega. So I think after the Switch, Nintendo's going third party, and they're probably never going back. Just like Sega. But hopefully Nintendo will be more successful than Sega, because right now Sega is a total bastard. Name one Sega game that's being released this year that's actually even somewhat relevant. I can't. I can't name any Sega game released in the past 5 years that was relevant. Oh, Aliens Colonial Marines. Huge success. But I think if Nintendo goes third party, that might actually be a good thing. You know, I'd love for Nintendo to create more competition in the gaming market. You know, having 4 options for gaming is great. More options is the best thing ever. Having to choose between Nintendo, Sony, Microsoft, and PC, that's great. I love having the options to choose which platform I want to game on. It's great. But they could have been an amazing console if they had 500 gigabytes at least. And even now, 1 terabyte is the standard now of hard drive space on a new console. And they come out with 32 Nintendo, what the hell are you thinking? What the hell are you thinking? You're making the same bad decision Sega made in the 90s. And you're going to have to go third party to save your ass. You're going to have to release your Zelda games and your Mario games on the PlayStation, on the Xbox, on Steam. And I know the PC gamers are like, their pants right now when I said that. But it's a real possibility now. Not anytime soon, but 4 or 5 years from now, you might be getting your new Zelda games and Mario games on Steam, on PlayStation Store, on the Xbox Live Store. That might very well be happening now. So, good job, Nintendo. I was actually excited about your console, but you somehow managed to make me not even want to touch Nintendo anymore. You know? I was a huge Nintendo fan when I was a kid. I love Nintendo. I grew up with the Nintendo 64. That was my first console. And then handheld. Oh my god, some of my best gaming memories were on these handheld consoles. The Game Boy, Game Boy Advance. These are the systems I grew up with. Game Boy Advance, Nintendo DS. Amazing. Amazing systems. Wii even I had a blast with. But after that, stopped giving a shit about Nintendo. You know, I was excited about the Wii U, but then when it actually came out and details were being released about it, I was like, you know what, this shit is a fucking failure. Absolute failure. And I think the same thing is the case with the Switch. I have no pleasure in saying it. I'm not excited to be saying that. But it's just the truth, people. It's nothing but the truth. You don't have to like it, fanboys. You just have to accept it. I don't like it either. Okay? But if you're an idiot that pre-ordered the console, then you're a lost cause. If you're willing to buy a console day one that doesn't even have any games, just Zelda, and you're gonna finish that game in a day or two, so is it really worth $360 plus more memory, plus the Pro Controller, plus all these other things? You're gonna be spending almost $600 just for fun. The fact that there are idiots that defend Nintendo to this day is pathetic. It's downright pathetic.